Okay. Welcome to the Great Debate Show. How y'all doing? It's your favorite Uncle JJ. And as always, I got something to say. Welcome to the Great Debate Show. The Great Debate Show is available wherever you get your podcast. The Great Debate Show is available on all social media platforms. I do live streams throughout the week, mainly on Sundays, Mondays, Fridays, Friday night after SmackDown, Monday night after Raw, Monday night football, Sunday after football games, and all of that. Right now, it's a great time to be doing sports and podcasting because, well, there's just so much to talk about. MLB playoffs, NFL season that is, like finally getting into the nitty gritty now, finding out who's real, who's fake, who's contenders, who's pretenders. We've got the NBA season approaching as early as next week. The regular season officially begins. Just so much to talk about. College football. We're getting toward the college football playoffs. We're starting to wind it down. So everybody that's moving in and out of the top 10, top 5 is going to be very, very crucial. Just so much to talk about in sports now, which is why I love this time of the year in the early stages of fall. Okay, now, excuse me for that. Now, so let's get this thing started. Today, I just want to give you a little bit of wrestling news, a few things from PW Insider as far as Seth Rollins, and is it an injury or is it a ruse? Again, as he just wants to throw CM Punk off guard, get him to let his guards down, and find a way to still beat him again and screw him over for November 1st, Saturday night's main event for the World Heavyweight Championship. Also want to talk about the NBA. I've got predictions for the 2025-2026 season. I will give you my predictions, seeds 1 through 8 in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. And I've got some NFL trade proposals for you before this season ends. Before the trade deadline, November the 4th. Where are these guys going to go? Some players are going to get moved, some are not. Some names like Alvin Kamara, we're hearing, are not going to get traded. It's a shame. We would like to see some of these players with other teams, give these teams a chance to really make that playoff push. But there's going to be some players that people are going to be disappointed. Teams are not going to sell, even though they should. Who will buy, who will sell, who should be trying to buy, and who shouldn't be. My 49ers, a team that was really, really thought to be aggressive, allegedly to go get an edge rusher, but then Fred Warner went down with a devastating fracture and dislocated ankle that has him out for the season, and there's no guarantee that the Niners are going to give up anything more than a 5th, 6th, or 7th round pick for any talent that they could acquire, and I wouldn't blame them. They need their 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round picks, and unless somebody just gives us a 5th, or wants a 5th or a 6th, just practically give us a player that could really help us down the stretch. Don't see us really being in the cards for making a good trade. But I'm going to give you those trade proposals. And as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and do that right now. We'll start with the NFL first, and I'm going to go ahead and go into the NBA, and then I'll finish with the rest of the news. All right? So, my trade proposals, again, is coming from just what I'm reading. The research that I'm doing shows that some people like Alvin Kamara won't get traded. Trey Hendrickson may not get traded now, believe it or not. As much as the Bengals need to get something for this guy, who's going to be a free agent in 2026. Now that they traded for Joe Flacco, the Bengals think that they got a shot to at least still be at 500 or a little above 500, and still try to make. They're still going all in for this season to try to make the most of it. By the time Joe Burrow comes back, and him coming back in mid-December will basically depend on what the Bengals do here in the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks. It's a long shot, but we'll see. And depending on what happens in these next 3 weeks, though, we'll see what happens with Trey Hendrickson. All right, I'm going to start with my first trade proposal. I'm going to say A.J. Brown. look, I think AJ Brown is, really, really trying to get his way out of there. He doesn't seem. Somebody said, an NFL exec, an anonymous NFL exec, said that he doesn't look unhappy or disgruntled or anything like that. He just looks indifferent, and that's worse than anything else. And a lot of people think that Howie Roseman is going to move AJ Brown. There was a report saying that it would happen in the offseason, but then Diana Rossini reported with The Athletic that it could happen before the November 4th trade deadline. Now, I said this about a week or two ago. Every week it's something different with AJ Brown. They've lost 2 straight games now. They're still 4-2. They're fine. They just need to just regroup. But people don't know if this is going to be 2024 or the 2023 season. 2023 was a season to forget because, well, they started off great, then they ended off pretty damn bad. Making the postseason, but they were one and done after losing the wild card game in Tampa Bay. So, the Philadelphia Eagles very well may get rid of AJ Brown. Howie Roseman is a general manager that loves to make trades for people that he can get, a lot of high value for. And that value, if he thinks it's more than what they're actually getting out of that player or the way they're using that player, that's exactly what they do. I think it's time. They've got the Super Bowl out of it. He and Jalen Hurts' relationship does not seem to be very good. So I can very well see this trade happening before the November 4th deadline. And I would say, bold prediction or not, I would say that AJ Brown will probably go to Kansas City Chiefs, even though they're getting Rashee Rice back. And there was word that they were not even looking to trade for a wide receiver. Don't know how true that is. It was Tyreek Hill, so maybe they didn't want to kick the tires on Tyreek Hill, but they probably would want to kick the tires on AJ Brown. This is a guy who really hurt them in the Super Bowl last year. He's hurt them the past couple of times that they played in the previous 2 Super Bowls. They would love to have him on their side. Would the Eagles be willing to do business with them? I don't know. But I don't see why not. They're on the other conference, and even if they were to see them, it wouldn't be into the Super Bowl. And well, they're 1-1 against them in Super Bowls. So I could see them trading them to Kansas City, the Buffalo Bills, another team that could use a wide receiver. Very bad. Just saw the Bills lose last night on Monday Night Football in Atlanta. And the main reasons is they're average. I told you the defense is weak and depleted, and the offense, there is no offense really. It's whatever Josh Allen can do on this team. He just works his magic. He's got James Cook in the backfield. That's about it. These receivers are very, very average, if not below average, in Buffalo. So I can see AJ Brown getting traded to Kansas City, Buffalo, maybe the Indianapolis Colts. They don't really need a receiver, but it wouldn't hurt any. They're already good, but having a household name like AJ Brown will really, really, really probably put them in the AFC Championship game. If not the Super Bowl, if they can stay healthy, keep Daniel Jones healthy, which it seems like they will. This is the best offensive line in football right now. Jonathan Taylor is healthy, and the defense much better than what people expected. So I would say Indianapolis as well. And last but not least, San Francisco. I've just been saying this for a while now. Brandon Ayuk seems to want to leave San Francisco. He needs a new change of scenery. AJ Brown needs a change of scenery. Would they just be willing to do an even swap, or would we have to still give a 4th-round pick to add with that? Maybe a 5th-round pick with Brandon Ayuk. They pick up his contract. We get AJ Brown in his contract. All well ends well. Do we really need a wide receiver? No, we don't. But I would love to have AJ Brown. And if we're waiting on Brandon Ayuk to come back, then that means we still kind of want him. And so if we need him, then we still would need a wide receiver to replace him if we traded him away. I don't think that we would do that, but that's just something that I've been kind of throwing out there for the past month or so. And I'll continue to do it until BA comes back and he's playing for us, and he's playing like he played before the ACL injury. That's AJ Brown. Trey Hendrickson. I don't think he should, but I don't know if he actually will, because the Bengals are just one stubborn team. It took all the way up until damn near week 1 before they gave this man a raise. They played possum the whole damn offseason. Nobody wanted to blink first. And he got a raise, but he did not get an extension. He's going to be a free agent this offseason. doesn't make any sense for him to not get traded before the deadline. They want to really, really, really see if they can win some of these games here in the next 3 weeks. And if they don't, then I think they have no other choice. People say if they wanted a first-round pick or a second-round pick, I don't think they deserve either for a guy that's only going to be with the team for 8-9 games, whoever acquires him. That's crazy. It's ludicrous. But I still think San Francisco's on the phone with him, believe it or not. Even though after the Fred Warner injury, I don't think they should be on the phone really trying to buy. I think they should be trying to sell. But if they still think that Nick Martin and Bethune and these guys can still, just do their best to kind of fill in for Fred Warner, then all would be better if they had an edge rusher like Trey Hendrickson. And, it's just a 1-year rental, which they probably would rather have because Bosa's coming back next year. Now, the only way I would do it is if the Bengals said, we'll take Nick Bosa. This season is already lost. We'll have Bosa, though, for 2026 and beyond. And we'll still be paying him just a little bit more than what we're going to pay Trey, but he's younger. Maybe they would take Bosa off our hands, and we could take Trey Hendrickson and give him a short-term extension. Not saying any of that would happen, but I'm just saying. I don't think we will do it, but if there's a team that could do it, he kind of fits what we're trying to do in the 1-year rental. And but we wouldn't give up a second-round pick. We wouldn't dare. Not for half a season. I would say 4th-round pick is the most that I'd be willing to give up. And I really wouldn't trade for anybody if I was John Lynch, unless they would just practically give them to me for a 5th, 6th, or 7th-round pick. All right, Max Crosby. The Raiders are terrible. And I don't see why they wouldn't steal. I know they just gave Max Crosby an extension, but keep him there for what? Now, during the offseason, he was being heavily recruited by 49ers cornerback Deommodore Lenoir. I don't think we're going to do that, though, because the Raiders are going to want a first-round pick, as they should. And the only team I can think of that has a first-round pick is the Dallas Cowboys. They've got a couple of them. Yeah, their picks and the Green Bay Packers picks after the Michael Parsons trade. This could really make up for what they did by trading away Michael Parsons if they had the balls to go ahead and trade for Max Crosby. They're a team that's just a game under 500. The NFC East is it's all over the place right now. Philly is 4-2 after 2 straight losses. Commanders just lost to the Bears last night at the buzzer with a walk-off field goal to Chicago. They're 3-3, just right at 500. And if the Cowboys can just win next week, they're right back at 500 at 3-1, and that tie is going to help them unless they just really sink. If the ship just really sinks. If that doesn't happen, they're still actually in this thing, in the hunt. So I would say that they would make the trade for Max Crosby, not just for this season, but for the future. And it's an upgrade over Michael Parsons, somebody who I, for one, would have not paid $47 million a year to. If Crosby gets dealt, which I doubt, I could see the Cowboys being the first team and the only team probably that will say, I'll give you a first, hell, I'll give you a second. They may actually do that and still not have to worry about paying $47 million per, like Green Bay did with Michael Parsons. Chris Olave, I could see him getting traded to Pittsburgh. There's rumors that the Steelers are looking for a wide receiver. They could probably make a move for him, but they don't need to. I don't think they're desperate. But Pittsburgh could be a team, but the team that is desperate again is Buffalo. They should be in the hunt for trading for A.J. Brown or Chris Olave. That's what I would say. Chris Olave, Pittsburgh or Buffalo. Another wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk. No, he's not healthy yet. No, he's not off of the IR yet. But he's coming back. We think by week 9, week 10. Brandon Ayuk will be ready to practice. The practice window will be open and he will be ready to play. If that's true, Buffalo is a team that could use Brandon Ayuk. If they can't get A.J. Brown, if they can't get Chris Olave, what about Brandon Ayuk? Josh Allen needs some help, man. He needs somebody out there on the perimeter that can get open, who is a solid number 1 receiver who can also block and do some good things in this Buffalo offense by offensive play caller Joe Brady. I think that this would be really the best move if Buffalo called the Niners for Brandon Ayuk, or if the Niners called to get rid of Brandon Ayuk. Now the Niners have more cap space if they can move Brandon Ayuk. And maybe they can go get a Trey Hendrickson or a Max Crosby or some people are saying Mario Davis and Carl Granderson from the New Orleans Saints. I don't think they should go do all of that. But when you got more cap space, you have a little bit more flexibility to do some things, a little more wiggle room. I think Buffalo needs Brandon Ayuk, and I can see this happening. Now, why would Buffalo want to make a trade for somebody who's on IR? He's on his way back. That's pretty simple. And Buffalo's not paying any big money to anybody. Brandon Beane has done a great job over there as general manager in Buffalo, but the one thing that he gets a lot of flack for is he doesn't really go get offensive weapons. As good as Josh Allen is, he could use a Brandon Ayuk. So I would say Buffalo should be in the move for trade. They tried it last year with Amari Cooper, did not work out. You would get a much better receiver, though, out of Brandon Ayuk. I think they should be going for Brandon Ayuk, A.J. Brown, or Chris Olave. Breece Hall, I would say that he should get traded as well. The Jets are terrible. They should be selling. And the Chargers are looking for a running back. They're desperate right now, so you probably could get a lot more than what you probably should be getting for Breece Hall. But I like him. He's good. He's fast. He can hit the corner like nobody. And the Chargers could use him. I would say Breece Hall could get traded to the LA Chargers. They're desperate for offensive tackles and running back. And last but not least, what about Russell Wilson? If he's going to get moved, it has to be now and soon. And I'm calling for the reunion with Pete Carroll. Geno Smith has been stinking it up. The Raiders have been stinking it up on offense. Chip Kelly's not good either. But, somebody who's familiar with what Pete Carroll likes to do offensively is Russell Wilson. And, hey, why not have two of your former quarterbacks? You reunite with Geno. Why not reunite with Russell? I don't know, just a shot. I was going for Shadur Sanders, but now that he's the backup quarterback in Cleveland, I really don't think Cleveland's going to do that now. It would be nice, but I doubt it. So I would say Russell Wilson to the Raiders. And if not, it would just be because Giants kind of overpaid for Russell Wilson during the offseason. All right, that's all the trades that I see probably happening, even though there should be plenty more. The Jets are asking for a lot for defensive end. If you're trying to get, I think it's Clemens, you've got McDonald, whoever these guys are, they're wanting a lot. So they may not make a trade either because, well, as much as Robert Saleh probably wants those guys with the Niners, we're not at liberty to give up too much. That's my NFL trade proposals. Now, moving on to the NBA. I'm going to start with the Eastern Conference as I give you my NBA predictions for 2025-2026. This is not that hard, I don't think, because the Eastern Conference is really just not going to be that good, y'all. I don't mean to be disrespectful to the East. No shade at all. But whoever comes out of the East still probably doesn't win the NBA championship. The only way that happens is if Giannis Antetokounmpo is traded to the Knicks. That's the only chance I think the Knicks have to win in the finals. Although I do think I have the Knicks coming out of the East, but I just want to give you my rankings right now. I'm not willing to give you the whole NBA tree. Give me a few more days. The season still doesn't start until next Wednesday, I believe. No, next Tuesday on the 21st. Today's the 14th. So give me another week before I give you my whole NBA playoff picture. Right now, I'm just going to give you my seedings. And I'll start at the bottom. Number 8, I'm going to say the Miami Heat. Yeah, believe it or not, the Miami Heat can still make the playoffs because, well, the Eastern Conference is just kind of bad. And it's pretty thin with people like Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum, and all these guys being out for most of the season, if not the entire season. And I don't think Tatum should come back at all, even though I know he's eyeing return probably in the spring, probably around February or March maybe, but he should not be. I don't think the Celtics will even be good enough in contention for him to even think about risking, his future and his health. I'm coming back to a team that's probably going nowhere this year with him or without him. But with all that being said, I'm going to say the Miami Heat can actually make this roster. I mean, looking at it, it doesn't look that bad. They had a pretty good draft. The Miami Heat can still find a way with Eric Spoelstra, who is now named the coach for the Olympics now, for the USA Olympic team. Tyler Hero is the only reason why I'm not putting him higher, to be honest with you, on the Eastern Conference. he's not going to be ready to start the season due to an injury. He's going to start a little late. But with having Nikola Jovic on the team, they Terry Rozier, who's the name? Khalil Ware that they have now, the big man. I think he's a rookie. You got Andrew Wiggins, who people are not really talking about, who can really replace Jimmy Butler when it comes to scoring, defense somewhat. Nice wing player. And I think that you got Bam Adebayo and those guys. So I just think people are kind of sleeping on Miami Heat. And I'm going to say that they're going to be an 8-seed team, play-in team, and I think that they can actually get in. My number 7 seed team in the Eastern Conference, and it was hard to even find a way to put them in the top 8, to be honest with you, because I'm not really that impressed when I look at their roster. But at number 7, I've got the Milwaukee Bucks. Mainly because Doc Rivers just is not a good coach. I never thought that he was, ever. Not even in 2008. I think I could have coached the Celtics to an NBA championship that season. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but he's just never, ever done it. Outside of that one season, what has he done? And now, no Dame Lillard, no backcourt really. Gary Trent Jr. and those guys, man, they're all right. But they got just a whole bunch of Antetokounmpos. They've got 3 now that's added to the roster. And I'm not necessarily sure if that's a good thing. Giannis, with all the trade talk, I may leave, I may not, I may stay, I may go. I just think it's too much of a distraction. Will he come out and play? Put a fire lit under his ass? Maybe, I'm not sure. I think maybe the first month he will get the ground running and he will try to give it his all, see if this team has what it takes. But he may just give up, burn out mentally and say, I don't care if I put up 50 a night, 40 a night. This team isn't going anywhere. I want out. And I expect him to get traded before the trade deadline this season. And even if he stays, the addition of Miles Turner is just not good enough for me to move them up in the top 4. I have them at number 7. Number 6, the Toronto Raptors. This is going to be one of the best defensive teams in the Eastern Conference. One of the best teams that won't have much offense, though. Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram and all of those guys. What's his name? Former Nick. Those guys are okay, but they just don't quite have enough for me to put them any higher than where I'm putting them at. I think that RJ Barrett is who I was trying to say. RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, Emmanuel Quickly. That's about it. Nobody jumps off the roster to me. Like I said, they got defense though, but they just lack offense. I think that they'll do enough. And again, a lot of this is just in the Eastern Conference. And being in the Eastern Conference, hey man, you got a chance. I almost thought about putting the Philadelphia 76ers in here, but you can't trust Embiid. You can't trust Paul George. These guys stay on the injured roster. They stay on injured reserve or just on the injured list more than they do on the court. But Tyrese Maxey, Kyle Lowry is back over there. Then they've got what's his name? Eric Gordon. Is he there now too, I believe? So there was some reasons why I thought about putting the Sixers in this playoff picture. But yeah, Eric Gordon is there now. But again, I just don't trust the front court, the defense or lack thereof, the rim protecting. I just don't really see it. And then Drummond, I'm about done with that. Every time I think that looks promising, it just never really is. But that's an honorable mention. Who could possibly be in a play-in? If Embiid can play, if Paul George can play, this is a team that I would not hesitate to put in the top 4 of the Eastern Conference. Call me crazy, but that's what I would do. But because I just can't trust the Philadelphia 76ers, they're not in here. So I got the Raptors at 6. Again, Heat 8, Bucks at 7, Raptors at 6. Number 5, how about the Atlanta Hawks? Y'all, I wanted to put the Hawks higher than this, but I just can't really find any offense for Atlanta when I look at their roster. But they will have defense with the addition of players like Nikhil Alexander-Walker, which I think is a huge blow for the Minnesota Timberwolves losing him. Alexander-Walker, Jalen Johnson. These are good players that are going to really help on defense. And then when it comes to scoring, if Kristaps Porzingis can stay healthy, that's going to be a good look for them. Pick and roll with Trae Young and Porzingis can be very, very dangerous if he can stay healthy. But that is a big if. Luke Kennard, he would be their guard or shooting guard or backup point guard or whatever. These are some of the reasons why I can't put them much higher than what I would like. So I have them at number 5. But again, if Porzingis is healthy, different story. Never know. This is a year where Trae Young very well could be a top 5 MVP candidate, and he could possibly lead the league in assists this year. Now, number 4, the Detroit Pistons. I like the Detroit Pistons. I think they might have been a 4th seed last year as well, somewhere between 4 and 5. I think they're projected to win somewhere around 44, 45 games. And I kind of want to go over because the Detroit Pistons, man, look, Cade Cunningham, this is a star. This guy's going to be an all-star if he wasn't already. This guy's going to be all-pro, I think. This guy's going to probably average 30 points a game this season. I really do like what he's doing. At 6'6", only 24 years old. Watch out for the Pistons. They still got Tobias. Now, this is a team that I would put higher if they make a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's just that I don't know what the hell Giannis is going to do. I have him getting traded to the Knicks before the trade deadline. But if there was another team that he could go to in the Eastern Conference, it's these Pistons. If that happens, watch out. But even without a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo, if they don't make that trade, they still have Tobias Harris. They still have Jalen Duren. They now have added Caris LeVert in the backcourt. They have Isaiah Stewart, a dog, down there in the front court. Defense, kind of a rim protector. They've added Duncan Robinson now on the wing. So they've got some guys that can really help out. And then the emergence, I think, of Amen Thompson's brother. You know, Amen Thompson is over there in Houston. What about his brother, Asua Thompson? He's pretty good. And I think that sky's the limit for the Pistons, especially of Jaden Ivey, coming off of a devastating leg injury from last year. At 23 years old, man, 6'4", 195 at point guard. This is good depth that they bring back now for the Pistons when Cade Cunningham is on the bench, or if they want to go small and play these guys together. The Pistons are the team to watch out for, and I have them at my 4th seed. The only reason why I don't have them higher is because I really am high on the Orlando Magic. That's my number 3 seed right now. The Orlando Magic is a team that made a trade for Desmond Bane. I'm a Memphis Grizzlies fan here in Memphis, and my Grizzlies are not going to be that good this year. They could be if they started healthy, but they're not going to start the season healthy. I'll get to them when I get to the Western Conference. But Desmond Bane was a kind of a blow for the Grizzlies, but it's a good move for both ends because of what they got in return. The Grizzlies are kind of getting a reset. The Magic are trying to hit the green light, and they want to go. So with that being said, the Orlando Magic, this could be a year where they surprise a lot of teams. I have them at 3. Some people actually have them a top 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. Pachero is going to have a year where he could really go off. I mean, really go off. The power forward at 16, just 22 years old, he's going to progress even more. This team made the playoffs last year. I don't think they got out of the first round, but they played a tough I think they played Cleveland, who was the number 1 seed. Watch out for the Magic this year, though, with the addition of Desmond Bane. They still got Wendell Carter Jr. They've got Tyus Jones at point. Jalen Suggs, who, if they can just get a little bit more from him, now he may be coming off the bench now with Desmond Bane. That helps. They struggle with scoring and their 3-point shooting. Desmond Bane helps that out. And with Suggs coming off the bench now, you got Franz Wagner coming off doing what he does at the forward position. They're going to be just fine. I think the Orlando Magic are going to be good. Did they lose a few players like KCP and Cole Anthony? Yeah, they're with the Grizzlies now. Well, KCP is. I don't know where Cole Anthony ended up. We kind of waived him, I believe, or did a buyout. But the Magic are going to hit the ground running. This team is going to defend well, and now that they can shoot better beyond the arc, watch out. I think the Orlando Magic can and will be a top 3 team. I got them at number 3. And number 2, I'm sure you should know who these top 2 teams are going to be. 2, I'm going to say the Cavs, mainly because they lost Ty Jerome, a good defender and three-point shooter, who's now in Memphis with my Grizzlies. They have added Lonzo Ball, but man, take that with a grain of salt, if you will, because he just can't stay healthy. The Cleveland Cavaliers are still a pretty good team, just not quite as deep. But with Mobley, him getting better, which you know he will be, Garland coming back healthy this year, Jared Allen, we know what we get from Donovan Mitchell. Larry Nance Jr., Max Strus, he's starting the season, I think, injured, so that could kind of slow them down just a little bit, and that's basically the only reason why I don't have them number 1 again. Even if they are number 1, I think Cleveland is just one of those teams that's going to be a good regular season team, and they're going to have to find a way to do it in the postseason, though, when it really matters. I don't know if they can do that, though, but I will have them at number 2. Evan Mobley now, just 24 years old. He's going to get better. DeAndre Hunter, they've got those shooters on the wing where they can really just push and stretch and kick it out, and it's bang, bang, bang all day. I got them number 2. But number 1, it's the New York Knicks. I think that this is their division to lose, their conference, to lose. It's up for grabs for the Knicks and the Cavs. I don't see anybody else really taking that away. And y'all, the Knicks, Cole Anthony Towns, I think that he will get traded. I think he'll be a part of the Milwaukee Bucks trade. He could easily be a Buck, and Giannis could be a Knick. Whether the Knicks pull the trigger on Giannis or not, or they just stay the same. This is still the best team in the Eastern Conference, mainly because, again, no Tatum in Boston, no Halliburton in Indiana. And I hope y'all don't think I'm disrespecting the Celtics or the Pacers. It's just that Miles Turner is a huge loss for the Pacers. Halliburton not being there for the season is a huge loss. And as much as I respect the head coach for the Indiana Pacers and their zone defense and everything that Rick Carlisle does, what's his name? The backup point guard. He's going to push the ball too. They're going to be fine with McConnell, TJ McConnell, Nembhard, D. Smith, all those guys. I know. Obi. What's his name again? Damn it. The Pacers are a good team still, kind of, but I just have them missing the playoffs because Obi Toppin. That's what I was trying to say. These are honorable mentions. Siakam. This is going to be definitely an all-star year for him. He's going to damn near lead the league in scoring probably. He's going to be great, but it's just not going to be enough. They're going to score a lot because of him, but they're not going to have enough offense. They don't have that extra push that Tyrese Halliburton made for them, provided for them. I'm saying the Knicks, man, is number 1, basically because, again, no Pacers, no Celtics, and because of that, because of those 2 stars that they're missing and Miles Turner, I don't have them making the playoffs. If they do, then they're right at 8 or 7, and I could take the Raptors out. I could take the Bucks out, but I chose not to. So I got the Knicks number 1 and the Cavs number 2. I've got the Magic number 3 in the Eastern Conference, and the Detroit Pistons at 4. Hawks 5, Raptors 6, Bucks 7, Heat 8. Moving on to the Western Conference. Let's start from the bottom. It's hard for me to figure out what the Minnesota Timberwolves are about this year. They didn't really make a lot of changes. They didn't really add anybody, and Mike Conley is getting a year older. And I'm not really quite sold on Dillingham just yet. He may be the guy. I'm not sure. I hope he is. If he is now, that changes things dramatically because he's young. He's fresh. He's got more speed. But he got benched last year in the playoffs. And, that's a lot to come back from. I think he will do it, but I'm not sure if he does it right off the bat. So I'm going to say that Minnesota Timberwolves, as good as they are, I got them at the 8th seed. Gobert, another year older. They did, re-up Nas Reed, Julius Randle. They kept those guys that they needed to keep. But with Julius Randle now not playing for a contract, he may go back to what my former co-host Tanner used to tell me all the time as a Nick. I can't trust Julius Randle. I like him, but I don't know if he can be trusted now that he's gotten the contract. Jaden McDaniels, I love him. Good pro, 6'9", good wing defender. Can take away your best offensive player. They still got him. That's great. Rim protector Rudy Gobert. Anthony Edwards is going to play with his back to the rim more. And I think that he could definitely go for MVP. He could definitely be the leading scorer because I think he's going to have to snap out because there's just not a lot of offense that I'm finding here when I look at their roster. They didn't really improve. They're kind of just staying the same while other teams in the West got better. And the West already so deep. Because of that, that's the reason why I have Minnesota at the 8th seed. And it really pains me to say that because y'all know I love Lisa Pinkman. And I really do hope that he goes far. And again, don't pay attention to where I have these teams ranked with my 1 through 8 seeds. That made a damn thing when I get to my playoff predictions. My playoff picture, I could very well have a 7 seed team be the number 2 seed. Just never know. It depends on where I see everybody at and where I have them. But I will have the Timberwolves at 8. I'm sorry, Minnesota. I just don't see how I can move them up any further. DiVincenzo, Rob Dillingham, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels. That's about it. Just wish I had a little bit more in the backcourt as far as scoring goes. And just seems to be kind of by himself. They'll still play defense, I hope, and we'll see from there. Number 7, y'all, a lot of people think that they're going to be a top 3 seed team in the Western Conference. That's the Los Angeles Lakers. I, for one, don't. I know y'all going to say I'm just hating on LeBron. I'm not. But LeBron James is not going to start the season off. He's already missing the first 3 or 4 weeks. That'll probably be at least the first week or 2 of the NBA season. I'm being told that it's going to be some load management for him throughout this season. This could possibly very well be his last season. I'm not sure. But Luka Doncic has dropped the weight. He looks great. But will he play defense? I don't know. That remains to be seen. And I will have to see it first before I believe it. They didn't add anything else, just like the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is another team that kind of stays the same. And with some of the teams that I'm about to mention that made changes, good changes, I believe, good additions, I don't really see where I can move the Lakers up any higher than a 7 seed team. I know they were better than that last year, but the Western Conference is even better than it was last year. And DeAndre Ayton, yeah, I know they needed a big, and they got one. But is he the big that you all think you need, Laker fans? I think not. This is a guy that I still don't think can be trusted to protect the rim like he should. There's a reason why he's not in Phoenix anymore. There's a reason why Portland said, get the hell out of here, and they did the buyout. He's got attitude. He's just doesn't really show the urgency, the committed. Doesn't seem like he's really committed to basketball, and he can just be a locker room problem at times. So I'm about to say it, a cancer in the locker room. I just don't think it's going to work out. I think before the trade deadline, they get rid of him if they can, and they'll still be looking for a big. Luka Doncic, Rui Hachimura, Jackson Hayes. Now that's somebody who should get more playing time. Don't get me wrong, Jackson Hayes coming off the bench. That's not a bad look, but I just think that he's going to end up playing more than Laker fans think he will, because I just don't think they're going to get what they want or what they need from DeAndre Ayton. Will pick and roll be good on offense with Luka and LeBron playing around with Ayton? Yes, but they have to play defense on the other end. And I still think the Lakers are a liability on that part. Austin Reeves will be great. Luka Doncic will be great. Marcus Smart. That's a decent, that's a low-key good move, too. I forgot about him on defense. I hate the Grizzlies didn't keep him, but he's aging, too, y'all. He's 31, and he stays injured more than he stays on the court. Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, same old people. Gabe Vincent is a good addition that they got last year. He was good, but he'll probably need to play more minutes than they want him to. And again, load management for LeBron. I just don't see enough players on this roster to tell me they're going to be any higher than what I have them at. They're going to be showtime on offense, but they're still going to lose a lot of close games because of their lack of defense. Number 6, the Golden State Warriors. This is another team that's aging. Jimmy Butler getting old, Draymond Green getting old, Steph Curry getting older, even though he's going to be able to last longer than the other two guys I just mentioned. The Golden State Warriors are not going to be bad, but I'm looking at what the league have them projected at as far as wins. I think they're somewhere around 46, 47 wins. I think they'll be somewhere between 46 and 49, 45 to 49 wins. And when I look at the roster, hey, look, the good thing they did was to get, what's his name, back in there. If he doesn't get traded, Jonathan Kuminga is a good player. I don't know why he didn't play more last season. I don't know, but every time they called on his name in the postseason, he delivered. So I think he just needs to get more minutes. I don't know if he will start or not, but I think he probably should. I mean, Buddy Hield, he's up and down, you know. He's up and down. And he's getting up there in age. I didn't know he was 32. So I think that this team is getting older, and Kuminga needs to play more. Al Horford, somebody else that they had, but he's old. He's 39. But this still is probably one of the best centers that Steph Curry's ever got to play with. He can stay outside in the corner and knock that three down still. This is a good addition. I think the Warriors will be better as the season progresses, and this is still could be a dangerous team. Again, don't pay attention to where I have these teams seated at. This is a team that can make some noise if they can just be healthy by the time we get around March and April. But I have them at number 6 in the West. Steph Curry, Seth Curry, his brother is now there. Of course, Jimmy Buckets, Buddy Hield, Moses Moody, Gary Payton II. They're all right, but I think 6 is a respectable place to put them. Why? Because of the teams that I'm about to mention now, these top 5 teams, you can just play shuffle with where they're going to be in. And mainly because of injuries. Who's going to be out for this long? Who's going to come back? Those play a major key as to where I have them seated at. And the other reason why I have this team at number 5 is because of somebody who won't be back until probably January or February. And that's Kyrie Irving and the Dallas Mavericks. I have them at number 5, even though I think that this is probably going to be my team that I put in the NBA Finals. Yeah, I said it, the NBA Finals. Give me another week, and I will give you my full NBA playoff picture. But the Dallas Mavericks at number 5, only because Kyrie is out and Cooper Flag is going to develop. They're going to slowly get him into this starting lineup. They're going to then again, they may not. They may just let him hit the ground running. But he is the modern day point forward who may not average 20 right off the bat. If he does, that's just a cherry on top. That's a plus. That's a bonus. But this guy's ready, y'all. He plays defense, something that Luka Doncic didn't do. I've been telling y'all since the Luka trade last season. Get over it, Maverick fans. It's okay. It was all upset of, you know? There's no way in hell Nico Harrison makes that trade if he didn't know he would get the number 1 lottery pick. This is the replacement. Will he be razzle-dazzle Showtime like Luka? Yeah, somewhat. Not in the same way, but in a different way. But it doesn't matter. He's a two-way player. He will play offense and defense. He will facilitate the offense at times when they need it because their backcourt a little thin until Kyrie comes back. D'Angelo Russell is their point guard. Take that with a grain of salt. But defensively, they're going to be so good, you're not even going to miss the fact that D'Angelo Russell's not playing defense. Cooper Flag will. And looking at this roster, y'all, the defense is the reason why they're going to be so damn good. And the rest of these teams that I'm about to mention, defense will play a part. All right? You've got Max Christie. You've got Anthony Davis, who's always been like a top 5 defending player. He's healthy. Watch out. Dante Exum, Cooper Flag. You got Gafford. You've got Lively. Just turned 21, and I heard that he actually grew a few more inches. He grew a few more inches. Yeah. So with Lively and Gafford and AD, man, this is one hell of a front court. This is some hell of a defense. You've got some great rim protectors and rebounders. You can't ask for more. And as far as the wing, they got Caleb Martin. They were able to keep PJ Washington. Cooper Flag is now there. I mean, Max Christie, who they got from the Laker trade. This is a pretty good roster, and Kyrie Irving is still coming back to it. When you and again, say what you want to say about what's his name, Klay Thompson. But Klay Thompson still is shooting 40% from beyond the arc. And that's all you really can ask for him. Dennis Smith Jr. also. This is a good team. Brandon Williams. This is a good team, and they're deep. And depth is what most teams lack in the NBA now. That is what's going to take this team a lot further. This team almost was a playoff team last year when AD just got there and got hurt and came back and they tried to get the play in. And my Grizzlies beat them, and I wish they had them because we took the same sweep that the Mavericks probably were going to take too. But I would have loved to have seen how they would have stood up against the team who eventually became a champion. The Mavericks are going to be good, and even though I got them at number 5, they're really my top team in the West. But I'll tell you that later when I do my full playoff picture. Number 4, the Houston Rockets. Another team that I really have playing a lot better, and I think that they go further in the playoffs. It just depends on if the Rockets are going to get a point guard. This is somewhere where I think Kevin Durant should have been recruiting Russell Westbrook. It must still be some drama between those two. Maybe still a beef. I don't know. But I think they really should have kicked the tires on Westbrook. Now he's got to go to Sacramento. I still think they could probably trade for him on down the line. Chris Paul is someone that I thought should have went there, but he went to the LA Clippers. But they need somebody. And the only reason why I have them at number 4 in the West is because of the Fred VanVleet injury. He tore his Achilles or his ACL, and that was devastating. Before the season started, before training camp or whatever, that was terrible. You don't know how good Houston would have been had they had him pushing the offense, facilitating the offense, getting the ball out to KD. When you worry about KD and you try to focus on him and take him away, VanVleet can shoot. He can do it. You remember what he did in Toronto in 2019, NBA Finals. He's a champion. That really hurts. That's the only reason why I have them at 4. But if they can find a way to make up for his lack of offense and his leadership, the Houston Rockets are still going to be fine. Why? Because they've got defense and they've got bodies. When it comes to the front court, they're not lacking at all. We already know what Alfred Sengun brings to the table. 23 years old, 6'11". Sengun is that dude. And then you've also got Steven Adams and Clint Capella back. Man, that's a lot of height, that's a lot of length, and that's a lot of rim protecting and rebounding. Good defense, good front court. I mean, I'm going to say it again. Sengun, Steven Adams, Clint Capella. Wow. Got Kevin Durant at the power forward. Jabari Smith now is probably coming off the bench at the same position. Amen Thompson, a star in the making. This team is good, man. Dorian Finney-Smith, also, they've got that depth, man. These guys are coming off the bench. The Rockets are fine, y'all. Jeff Green, this team is good. They just lack a point guard. They just lack a guard, period. And if they can get that, they've got plenty of time to do so. Let them find their wings and let them get their legs underneath them and see who they are and where they stand. But I think they'll be fine. Dylan Brooks is still a Houston Rocket too, right? Or is he not? No, I guess he was a part of the trade when they got KD. And that's fine too. They got defense though, y'all. And they just need a little offense. That's the only reason why I have them at 4. Number 3, the LA Clippers. Yeah. And again, don't pay no mind to where I have them in the seeds. They could go home first round in the first round of the playoff. They could get eliminated in 6 games. But they've got a roster now. They've actually made some moves. And I'm not talking about the Bradley Beal move, so to speak. But the front court, Zubac doesn't have to play as many minutes. And the reason why I have number 3 is the same reason why I have my number 2 team, number 2. Zubac is going to get some breathing room. He doesn't have to play so much. He'll get a breath on the bench for a while. You know, they added Chris Paul. Zubac has got some depth now because they added, what's his name? Brook Lopez. 37 years old, true enough, but he can still shoot on the corner, in the corner, on the wing. He can help you rebound. Not the best rim protector, but just a body being there, that presence. Brook Lopez is a great big to have coming off the bench while Zubac gets some much needed rest. He's been playing way too many minutes. Sort of like the that I'm about to say on the next team that I got coming up. But with Zubac and Brook Lopez, that's a pretty good front court and depth. They could go big at times and have them both on the court at the same time. Chris Paul is a good addition for their backcourt. Kawhi Leonard starting the season out healthy, believe it or not. John Collins. This is a power forward coming from Utah that people are really sleeping on. This is a huge addition for the Clippers, and I think that his 6'9" length and his frame really is going to help them out. Rim protecting, defense on the wing. This is going to be good, and rebounding as well, and pushing the ball. They can go small, and they can really run the floor and push the pace. We know what we got with Bradley Beal, who is now there. Nicholas Batum still there. And, of course, James Harden. So I think that this team is pretty deep. And because of that, and now that they have a little size somewhat, they're not as small. Watch out for this team. Now, I think in the long run, if you go big on them, I don't know how much Luke Lopez and Zubac can actually do defensively. But for the regular season, this is going to be a good regular season team, and I have them at number 3. I moved them around a little bit. I didn't know what they'd be like 3, 4, 5. I even thought about 6. And I looked at their roster a little bit more, and I said, nah. Number 2, the Denver Nuggets. Yeah, I think the Denver Nuggets are back. They're not going anywhere. This team took the NBA champion, OKC Thunder, to the edge, to the brink. Game 7. They gave them more trouble than anybody else up until the Pacers played them in the finals. And they did that with no depth at all. Aaron Gordon was injured. And they got nothing from Michael Porter Jr. They got rid of him. And I thought that was a big addition by subtraction. Looking at the Denver Nuggets, man, the Denver Nuggets now have a little depth. Something that they haven't had since the 2023 season when they won the NBA championship. And it's not quite as deep as that team, but it's as close as they're probably going to get. Looking at the salary cap and how they have to maneuver people around and shuffle these players. Christian Braun is still there, of course. We know what we get from, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon. But the main thing I think that helps them out is that they were able to trade Michael Porter Jr. away, and now they have Cameron Johnson. I'm very fond of Cameron Johnson. He played with the North Carolina Tar Heels, my Tar Heels in basketball. Coming over from the Brooklyn Nets, this is a much, much, much better scenery for him coming to Denver. He gets to play on a winning team. He's a great player on the wing who can knock those shots down a lot more consistently than Michael Porter Jr. did. So I think Cam Johnson is a huge addition. You've also got Bruce Brown back. He was on that championship team in 2023. And Tim Hardaway Jr. is also there now. Kind of a big blow for the Pistons, but the Pistons still, I got them pretty high in the middle of the Eastern Conference. But yeah, Tim Hardaway Jr. also gets some good depth on the wing, defensively, maybe on the wing shooting at 3 at times when they get the pushing, fast break offense. The Nuggets are back, and I think that they're going to be just fine. And the biggest thing for the Nuggets for me is that Jokic actually has a backup big. Yes, Jonas Valanciunas coming over from Toronto or Sacramento, I believe. I mean, he was Toronto, then he got traded to Sacramento. Now he's a Nugget. At first, there was some drama on if he was going to be there or if he was going back to his country to play. But he's in the States, and he's playing for the Nuggets. This is bigger than Zubac getting Brook Lopez to help him out, give him some rest. Take some minutes off of him. Jokic plays more minutes than anybody in the NBA, and he's arguably still the best player in the NBA. So now that he has Valanciunas, a center that's going to come off the bench for him, sometimes they may even have them on the court at the same time. This is huge. Give them some time to get their act together and get some chemistry. But the only thing I question with the Denver Nuggets is their head coaching. But I think that they're going to be fine with that too. They look how far they went after firing. What's his name? Last season. So they're going to be fine, y'all. I think that Christian Braun is going to step up. If he does offensively, watch out. The Nuggets are going to be the number 2 seed team. The only thing I worry about is, are they going to burn out? I think this somewhat added depth is going to keep them from doing that. And I can very well see the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals this year. Possibly the NBA Finals. And number 1, the defending champion OKC Thunder. Yeah, why not? The OKC Thunder is a good basketball team that's just going to continue to get better and better, y'all. If anybody had a chance to get the championship last season, whoever that would have been, it should have happened last year because that was your best chance at beating the OKC Thunder. I say that because, well, they're only going to get better. Everybody's returning pretty much. Everybody. From Alex Caruso to Lou Dort, SGA, possible MVP this year, Hartenstein, Chet Holmgren. This team won 64, 65 games. And Chet Holmgren missed about 30, 32 games. Chet Holmgren was not at his best in the postseason, especially down the stretch. Conference finals, NBA finals. They could have gotten more from Holmgren. And the fact that he wasn't that good, it made it a little bit tougher on OKC. If he progresses, which I expect him to, y'all, the OKC Thunder are only going to get better. And can you imagine how dangerous that is? I mean, you still got Jalen Williams. You still got Cason Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, Chet, Hartenstein, like I said, Dort, Caruso, SGA. Man, look, man, this team is still good. They paid everybody. Everybody's staying. They didn't lose anybody. I can't think of one person that they lost. At least no one that was major or key. They're only going to be better than they were last year. Last year was the year to get them. While everybody said, but they're inexperienced, though, huh? And I said, nah, the Thunder will be in the NBA Finals, and I got that right. And they won the championship. I damn near think that they're going to go back-to-back. I'm not ready to say that just yet, but I think they're going to be the number 1 or number 2 seed team. I'm going to leave them at number 1, and everybody's trying to get to the top of the mountain to take the OKC Thunder off the top. Who will that be? I think the Nuggets have the best chance in doing it. I think if Van Vliet didn't get hurt, the Rockets could do it this year. Those are the top teams that I think could do it. Denver, Houston, and Dallas. When Kyrie gets back, y'all, it's don't be a problem. Don't be a problem. Trouble. And that's all I have for the NBA right now. OKC topping the West, and the New York Knicks topping the East. Okay. Not any bold predictions, I would say, but still. Now, let me give you a little bit of that wrestling news. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Man, it still took an hour, but I was trying to explain to you all my reasoning for putting these teams I put them in. Okay, Seth Rollins could possibly be injured, and that's the reason why they hit the fast forward button this past week on Monday Morning Raw in Perth, Australia. It makes sense. I don't think this was supposed to happen anytime soon, unless this is a swerve and he's trying to get CM Punk, catching with his guards down again. I really do think that this is for real. And according to PW Insider, Fightful Select, the angle on Raw earlier today with Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker turning on Seth Rollins was necessitated by Seth Rollins suffering an injury at Crown Jewel, Perth over the weekend. The belief is that Rollins hurt his left shoulder, landing while executing the coast-to-coast dive, which was very stupid, towards the upside-down Cody Rhodes. That's the exact move that I thought happened. Some people said it was when Cody hit Seth with the crossbones off the top rope. I didn't think that was it either. It was executing the coast-to-coast dive towards an upside-down Cody Rhodes, who was hanging in the turnbuckles. There is no official word on the nature of the issue, but Rollins was seen sporting a sling in a photo he took with a fan Sunday evening in Australia. We are told he will be undergoing testing in the coming days. Now, that photo is to make some people believe that it's a ruse, but maybe he was just being nice to the fan. I know if he was really hurt, they probably won't want to show that, but look what they just did. I don't know. I'm wanting to think he's really hurt, though. The specific details of the injury were being kept very quiet. One WWE source said individually, not on behalf of the company, that an actual break of the arm would probably end up being better than a shoulder injury, because Rollins could be back in December from a break. However, they said it would be unlikely that they could avoid a drastic change if it was more of a serious shoulder injury. He was being careful filming segments at Raw and was hiding the injury with baggier clothes. I told you all that yesterday. Rollins was credited heavily from over a half a dozen sources we spoke to for finishing the match Saturday against Cody Rhodes, staying in Australia, and working the show on Monday morning or Monday night. Not just that, but doing a promo, a backstage segment, and a physical segment where they kind of wrote them off. Though details were foggy, the hope from staff backstage was that because Rollins was cleared for the segment, that the injury might not be as bad as feared. He's expected to undergo further testing this week. Now, because of everything that happened at SummerSlam with Seth faking the leg injury, there are some within the WWE who believe that let me say this part first. There are some within the WWE who believe Seth Rollins is headed for shoulder or rotator cuff surgery. That's probably very well what it could be. I said rotator cuff or torn labrum last night on the Monday Night Football post show. They were told. This is another source, and this is where this is coming from what happened with Seth Rollins the first time he faked it. They were told it was from an injury in the match with Cody Rhodes, but after being told that his other injury was legit, many are not fully believing anything right now. The lack of trust right now is pretty high. They don't really buy it because, well, there's rumors backstage in the WWE locker room that, hey, they can't trust the soul now. And they really were pissed off that they would allow, to make them think that he was really hurt and he wasn't. As far as creative, what is and wasn't planned, all this is again from Fightful Select. As far as creative, what is and wasn't planned, we'll get some more details on that as time goes on. Last week, when Wrestling Observer reported the plans for Survivor Series War Games, that was Dave Meltzer, we were told that the lineup was actually an option. The day when we followed up, it was largely dismissed as not being the specific direction. WWE had Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed attack Rollins today, which was hinted to us as a heavy creative pivot. Without being explicitly stated, Fightful Select spoke to a source in WWE that indicated that they'd heard that a Braun Breaker split originally wasn't planned or in the cards until next year. Well, that means Dave Meltzer's report was probably pretty accurate for War Games. The injury could be legitimate, but the hot angle could have been linked to the Raw ratings. Whether that changed the booking due to injury or the booking change based on a hot shot angle, because most likely Raw today with its early start time would have done the lowest rating in the show's history on Netflix. So they wanted something to make people tune in. That could be the case. All right. And last but not least, has this put the WWE in some major problems? Yeah, I would say so. Because if this injury is for real with Seth Rollins, what do you do for War Games? One thing you could probably do is give us the MFTs versus the Wyatt Six. They basically have about 5 or 6 members of the damn self, so they could easily fill in for Survivor Series War Games. We already know what's going to happen with the women. We think the Kabuki Warriors, they'll have a few people, maybe Becky Lynch and maybe, I don't know who else, Nia Jax and Lash Legends, allegedly, if she's getting bumped up to the main roster versus Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, AJ Lee, and, a few of those people maybe. The tag team women's champions, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, we may have that for the women's side. Or they could possibly do this. What about the old tournament they used to do back in the day on Survivor Series before they started that War Games crap? Where you would have, 2-on-2, 1-on-1, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches. And then you just break it down from 8. Now we got 4, and from 4 we got 2. It could basically go down like that. And I don't know if they do that or not, but if they decide to say, hey, Seth Rollins is out thanks to Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, they're done, we're gonna have to forfeit the title, they could have a tournament. And that would of course take away the Seth Rollins versus CM Punk World Heavyweight title match. And or well, Paul Heyman has so much juice, he just says, hey, we took him out, but the title still belongs to the Vision. or whatever they want to call themselves now, the Oracle. And I'm giving the title to Braun Breaker. What if they just make him the world heavyweight champion? And that's that. And we have CM Punk versus Braun Breaker, and then maybe they put the title on CM Punk. Maybe they just go ahead and let Braun Breaker's future be right now. I'm not really sure, but they'll probably have to forfeit that title. Maybe they'll go the tournament route. It depends on what the tents say. If Seth Rollins' test is not that bad, he may still try to work this match November 1st. But I highly doubt it. If he's going to have surgery, it really depends on what they do with this title, and that is key to what they're going to do for War Games. But Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins both going to be WrestleMania 42, according to Fightful Select, Wrestling Observer, and PW Insider. That's going to be off the table now if Seth Rollins is out for the foreseeable future. Okay, that's all I've got, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a great show. I hope you enjoyed the Great Debate Show. Remember to follow, subscribe. Great Debate Show is available on all social media platforms. And please make sure you follow and subscribe, because you just never know what might pop back up. Until we meet again, y'all be safe out there. Peace.